कन्याकुमारी च धीमहि तन्नो कतेरी माता प्रचोदयात् तन्नो कतेरी माता प्रचोदयात् तन्नो कतेरी माता प्रचोदयात्
ॐ गणानां त्वं गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतः न शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सिद्धिसाधनम् ॐ श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः ॐ हिरण्यवर्णां हरिणीं सुवर्णरजतस्रजां चन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं जातवेदो महावः ॐ कृत्पाकं अविश्यनां पेशशकरं नानाविधांशनैवेद्यम् इति श्री गणेश भगवान् इति श्री शिव शंकर भगवान् इति श्री जगदम्बिका दुर्गा देवी माता इति श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान् इति श्री कतेरी माता नाम्ना प्रतिगृहीता एवरीवन ॐ श्री कृष्णार्पणं बोलो ॐ श्री कृष्णार्पणं बोलिए प्रेम से बोलो श्री गणेश भगवान की उमापति महादेव की जगदम्बिका दुर्गा देवी माता की पवन पुत्र हनुमान स्वामी बाबा की वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की कतेरी महारानी माता की लिंग बाबा भगवान की सत्य सनातन धर्म की।
My name is Simiran and today, has anyone seen Keshav? Keshav.
Yeah?
We need to do pravachan. Why do you look so stressed? Keshav.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just so stressed. You know, my parents want me to get all ones.
Oh yeah, talk about stress. My parents want me to get my first choice school in SEA, as if I could pull that off.
I heard that there are some ways that we can deal with stress.
That sounds so good right now.
Yes, I know, right?
There are a lot of dangers of stress.
And a lot of ways to deal with it, like...
A really serious danger is heart problems.
As I was saying...
Headaches are also pretty common.
Well, yes. Okay, well, to deal with stress...
Depression is also a pretty bad result.
Are you done?
Done with what?
Anyways, some ways to deal with stress are...
Talking too much is also a super common one.
Can I talk?
Well, yeah, what's stopping you?
So, we can see that stress can affect our daily lives. Don't you devotees feel like the world is crashing all around you at certain points in your lives? This provision today is to help you in overcoming these bad times. Let's say, devotees, if you get a bad drive on the road, or your girlfriend is giving you a little too much trouble today, that may lead to stress. Right, Nigel? Stress can negatively affect you in everyday situations as well. Brothers and sisters, in life, when your wife or husband is stressed in the home, everyone else is stressed. As we say in Trinidad, pressure! Another typical example are students in schools such as ourselves. For example, if you get a bad mark, then you'll be stressed about what your parents will do. Stress can lead to headaches, as my sister in Dharma, Simiran, said, anxiety and lack of focus, which you all do not want in our lives.
Some things that we can do to manage our stress and avoid these negative effects are to get more sleep. Yes, devotees, sleep. When you think you're going through a lot in life, sometimes the best option is to sleep it off and rethink your decisions you have to make. Some other things we could do are talk to someone you trust. Don't bottle up your feelings or else everything will burst out in an instant.
Another way to avoid stress on the whole is to try to manage your time wisely. So if you have work to complete, don't stop and play some video games and watch some Netflix. Complete the task and get over the situation. These devotees are just a few ways you can deal with stress. I leave you with this quote, children of the rishis. Diamonds were just pieces of charcoals that handle stress exceptionally well. Thank you. Sitaram.
तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ब्रह्ममुरारिसुरार्चितलिङ्गं निर्मलभाक्षित शोभितलिङ्गं जन्मजदुःखविनाशलिङ्गं प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं देवमुनि प्रवरार्चितलिङ्गं पावनहं करुणाकरलिङ्गं रावणदर्पविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ॐ नमः शिवाय हरि ओं नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय शिवाय सर्वसुगन्धिसुलेपितलिङ्गं बुद्धिनिवारण कारणलिङ्गं शिरसुरासुरवन्दितलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 कर्णिकमहामणिभूषितलिङ्गं मणिपतिवेशित शोभितलिङ्गं दक्षसुयज्ञविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ॐ नमः शिवाय हरि ओं नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय हरि ओं नमः शिवाय कुङ्कुमचन्दनलेपितलिङ्गं पाङ्कजहारसुशोभितलिङ्गं सच्चिदपापविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं देवगणार्चितसेवितलिङ्गं भावयभक्तिभरीवचलिङ्गं दिनकरकोटिप्रभाकरलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 अष्टदलोपरिवेक्षितलिङ्गं सर्वसमुद्भवकारणलिङ्गम् अष्टदरिद्रविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गं सुरवरपुष्पसदाचितलिङ्गं परापरं परमात्मकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ लिङ्गष्टग्निदक्पुण्डगः पतशिवसनिधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोति शिवेन सह मोदिते नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय प्रेम से बोलो श्री उमापति महादेव की
जय
अम्बे गौरी माँ जगदम्बे गौरी माँ
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 अम्बे Jagadanbe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma, Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma. Sare gare ma gare sa ga ma pa gare sare sa. Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma, Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma. Sani da pa ma gare sare sa ga ma pa ni da pa sani da pa ma gare sa ga ma pa Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma, Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma. Sare sa ga gare ma ga ma da pa ni da sa ni da pa ga ma gare sare sa ga ma pa Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma, Ambe Gauri Ma, Jagadanbe Gauri Ma, Ambe Jagadambe Jayambe 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 Gauri Ma, Ambe Jagadambe Jayambe
Everything that we do, everything that is prescribed in Sanatan Dharma from the ancient East has been with the prescription of simply this: setting the right ambience, setting the right environment so that we can evolve ourselves spiritually. Every single thing about our way of life. You know, sometimes people ask, well, Paniji, all these things that we do, are they still relevant? All these, if you open a Hindu calendar and you look at it, it's a Paniji, every single day is something. Today, the days that we're off are typically Saturday and Sunday, right? Typically, for those who are not on a shift system. You are off from your routine jobs on a Saturday or Sunday. And then the government will give you certain holidays. You have Independence Day and Emancipation and Arrival Day and all of these other holidays. The world that we live in today has been so modernized and influenced by the West that we think and we have been so calibrated to see that as the norm. Recently I found out that in the Middle East, you know, when the off days, like we have Saturday and Sunday is weekend in the Middle East is, I believe it's Monday and Tuesday. So Saturday and Sunday are normal working days. So when we are exposed to different cultures, we start thinking that their way of life and their norms are different. And primarily it is because we in Trinidad and Tobago, in America, in Guyana, in Suriname, and the rest of the Western world have been so much influenced by the Western way of thinking. Even the language that we speak now, it is English. I was looking at What You Know yesterday. That is my new favorite series. And one guy was asked the question, what language you all speak in Trinidad? And the smart Alex said, we speak Yankee in Trinidad. I said, oh God, help us. We have gotten so accustomed to English and the Western norms that we have forgotten the richness of our traditions and our culture. Before we were westernized, and I'm saying the world was westernized, do you know what were the holidays? The holidays were, and I'm sure when I start it, you'll finish it for me. The holidays were Purnima, full moon. The holidays that were taken then were Amavasya. The holidays that were taken were Ekadashi. The holidays that were given and were prescribed were Shivratri. Monthly there's a Shivratri. And like this, those were the days that human beings, all human beings at the time, were required to take time out from their routine work and to establish some alignment with your higher self. Remember, I started by saying everything in Sanatana Dharma, absolutely everything, the direction that we sit when we do puja, the direction that we put our heads when we sleep, every single thing about what we do, how we do arti, clockwise, north of the equator, counterclockwise, south of the equator, remember that? Everything that we do is very scientific. And therefore, today, because we are so much westernized, if you go by Shivan and you say, Shivanji, he has a first-class woodworking shop, and you ask him, Shivan, what days are you off? He would say, well, Panditji, well, to this customer, Panditji has given Sunday as day for temple, and that's the day I'm not working. But what if you were to tell Shivan, Shivan, well, you know, Tuesday is Purnima, and the other 2 weeks, Wednesday is Amavasya. Just supposing, he would say, well, Panditji, I can't close my business on those days because I am doing business with the rest of the world, isn't it so? And that's the practical aspect of life. Today we're living in a very Western, modernized world. But not because it is Western and modern means it is optimal. And therefore, that is why within our homes, while we can't close our businesses and the children can't say, Miss, today's Purnima, Baba said, don't come to school today. You'd love that, wouldn't you? We can't do it because the rest of our lives is synchronized into this Western world. And that is why, as a personal offering, we must know when is the Amavasya, we must know when the Ekadashi is, we must know when the Purnima is, and we must translate and transform something about our personal discipline within our homes to be in alignment with what is prescribed for these very specific days. These days are not ordinary days. These days are very profound days to help us in our spiritual enlightenment. Today at ISHA, imagine, children, that God, we were offering prasadam today, when we were offering prasadam, and God showed up. We were offering prasadam to Bhagwan Shiva, and Lord Shiva showed up. How would you greet Lord Shiva? Would you do so? Peace to you, Bhag. What would you do? If you had to do something with your hands, what would you do? How would you greet Lord Shiva? Natasha? Sure. All of you will do this, right? Your natural response will be to put your hands together and to greet. You know, when you put your hands together like this, it is a mudra. A mudra means the position of your body, or in particular, positioning of your hands to get a particular response, specific response. And we've spoken about mudras before. But putting your hands together like this, it is called a Namaskar mudra. And notice what happens when you do this. When you do this, what happens is, do you put your hand together and do so? What happens? What is your normal or natural response of the body? You put your hands together and it's almost as though your head moves, how? Forward, right? You don't do this. It is almost as though the natural reaction of the body, it is to lean forward and the head tilts a little bit. That is called Namaskar Mudra. Scientifically, we understand that the body has left and right parameters. Even the brain, the scientists will tell you have left brain and where's the other one? Good guess. Right brain. And therefore, everything about how this body operates, it is the balance of the yin and yang. According to the Chinese, the yin and yang, in Sanatana Dharma it is called the Shiva and the Shakti, the masculine and the feminine. I want all of you to do something for me this morning. Take both your hands and clasp them together, meaning interlock your fingers and close it in with your thumb. Please do it. And I want you to now pay attention to your thumb. Don't move your hand, just watch your thumb. Amar, which thumb is on top? Huh? Right. What is your which thumb is on top, Natasha? Right. Which thumb is on top? Right? Okay. Some saying left and right. Based on which thumb naturally went to the upper position, that tells you which quality in you, the Shiva or the Shakti, is most predominant. So, last night when I tried it, I didn't realize, I did this and I realized left thumb on top, and I'm still left thumb on top. And it is said that when your male tendency is predominant, don't think that I am only male. Remember, you are both Shiva and Shakti. We have both Shiva and Shakti within us. And therefore, whichever tendency, some people will say your mood. Well, it's not only your mood, it is your energy pattern. And based on if your left thumb is on top, that's the masculine quality that is predominant. If your right thumb is above, then your feminine qualities are more predominant. Something to think about. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, it is because we do things with this body and we don't realize the impact of how aligned this body is with the rest of this universe. And therefore, when God shows up, as he will this morning, I was talking to someone in New York yesterday. Shiva gave me a phone to talk to somebody. And he was telling me, his name is Blackie, right? Blackie said, Babs, I'm coming back to Trinidad. And I'm making sure when I come there, I'm going to meet God there. I said, no, don't meet him here. Bring him when you're coming. And the point I was making is, don't think that when you go to some place, you will find God there. Don't think when you go to Tirat in India, you will find God there. Don't think when you go to Prashanti, Puttaparthi, you will find God there. Don't think when you go to Mysore, you will find God there. Don't think when you go to Sadhguru's ashram, you will find God there. Wherever you go, you should take God with you. And therefore, when you understand how connected this body is with the rest of your environment, it doesn't get connected when you go to India. It doesn't get connected when you go to the ashram. It doesn't get connected only when you sit at the feet of the Guruji. You are always connected. And that is why Sanatana Dharma, it is to make you independent. Not dependent on a person, not dependent on a Guruji, not dependent on God in an external form. As the children will tell you this coming Bache Khan, to understand where that search really should be. And therefore, everything about Sanatana Dharma, and I want to take you back to this. When you put your hand together like this, and you say Namaste, or you say Namaskar, what is that really doing? For those of you who know this very well, Namaste means I bow to the divinity that exists equally in you as it does in me. That is what Namaste means. So whether you say Namaste, whether you say Namaskar, whether you say Sita Ram, it really doesn't matter. Even if you do this and you put your hands together and you say hello, it doesn't go right. What is important? It is this. Because this brings the balance of the energy. The left and the right, the yin and the yang, the Shiva and the Shakti. The nerve endings on the palm of your hand and the nerve endings on the sole of your feet are so very much connected to every other part of your body. What do they call that science when you go by the doctor, special doctor, and they choke you with a needle? They don't poke you, they choke you. Acupuncture. You know what the doctor is doing? The doctor understands every single point, whether it's in the palm of your hand or the sole of your feet. And he or she understands exactly where to stimulate you to get a response. And therefore, where did that come from? The concept of acupuncture, it is Ayurvedic. It is understanding how this body operates and the connectedness among every nerve center of the body. So what does this have to do with Ekadashi? What does this have to do with Purnima? What is Panditji telling you about this morning when it comes to putting your hands together and saying Namaskar? what I'm sharing with you, it is simply this. If God showed up in front of you this morning, definitely you wouldn't say peace, man. You would say, you would put your hands together and you probably would not know what to say. But your natural response will be this: one of humility, one of love, one of reverence, one of surrender. But what about when you go outside and you see the dog? Do you do this? What about when you meet your husband or your wife? It depends on, you do this and say Namaskar, Namaste? Or it depends on the conversation last night. There's a different mudra. We're not doing that mudra today, right? What about my brother-in-law, whose name happens to be Shiva, and he showed up here this morning? Do you put your hands together and say Namaste, Namaskar? The reason I'm sharing the importance of this tradition is it is fading. We only do it sometimes. We only do it selectively when we think the environment is right, or when the environment is appropriate. One of the things that we must learn and appreciate is that Sanatan Dharma has understood the eternal. The West has understood the external. Can I say that again? Sanatan Dharma and our way of life has mastered the eternal. But the West, meaning the modern world, has mastered the external. Technology, discoveries, inventions, aircraft, space shuttles, you name it. The West has mastered it. And therefore, it is not to criticize the Western traditions. It is not to criticize the Western norms, but to remember the power. What we, meaning Sanatan Dharma, brings to the world, it is the perfect blend of marrying the external developments of science and technology with that which is the eternal. And when you do this, what I'm sharing with you is, it is part of the normal routines of the human being, that as many times, not only when God appears or when you go in front of the altar, but as many times as possible and as many times as practical, if you can greet anyone or anything like this, what it does for you, it sets your ambience. Wherever you go, you create an ambience around you that becomes so favorable that when you sit and finally do your Jap Mala Om Namah Shivaya, or you perform your Havan, or you sit and you offer your Jal, whatever it is you do, when you do that, what happens to you when this mudra becomes a regular mudra that you participate in? You have set the right framework so that the other forms of spiritual development happens for you in an accelerated manner. So as I conclude here this morning, let me share this analogy with you. This mudra, it is like the thread that goes through a mala. In that mala, you know what a mala is, right? This is a mala. In that mala, each flower or each bead represents something that you would normally do. One represents your meditation. The other represents bhajan kirtan, singing to the Lord. The other represents the service that you do for other people. The other represents when you sit and you jape mala. The other represents when you offer jal, like this. But if you discard the thread that connects each and every one of the flower, the things that you do in isolation will literally remain in isolation. Performing this mudra, it is the thread that connects all the malas in your life. I want you to not think and take this very simply or ordinarily this morning. As many times you can, put your hands together like this and say Namaste or Namaskar. Don't only do it. Remember what we said when we went to the river ranch? We took a stone, an ordinary stone, and we worshipped it as an extraordinary Mahadev. Understand that when you do this, don't only do it for when you see God or you think God is present in the murti or in the places of worship. Do this as many times as you can to another person, to a dog, to a bird, to an animate or an inanimate object. As many times that you can do this, you are setting the energy pattern within this framework that wherever you go, anything that you do, you will find that the energies, the increase in that spiritual development will happen 10, 100, 1,000-fold based on how accustomed this body is in getting into this mudra. It is not just Sitaram, it is not just hello, it is not just namaste. This mudra does exactly that for you. It harnesses the energy of the body to bring about love, humility, reverence, surrender. So the next time your husband is quarreling with you sorry, husbands don't quarrel. Next time the wife is quarreling with you at home, guess what to do? Amar? Namaste. You might get a different kind of look, but you do it enough times, it dilutes the negative that is coming your way. So, I'm asking you to practice this as much as you can. So, every time you come to temple, at least ISHA or any other place that you go, where it is practical, let's not just say, hey, Sitaram. Try the mudra. Namaste, Namaskar, Sitaram, it doesn't matter. But invoke the mudra as much as possible, as much as practical, and you will see the other things that you're doing, the other malas in your ambience will be perfectly connected. You throw away the ordinary mudra and you will have discarded the sustainability of Sanatan Dharma. Prem se bolo Shri Satya Sanatan Dharma ki, Are Satya Sanatan Dharma ki, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki.